What if I told you that the darkest parts of your personality are not your enemies, but your untapped superpowers? For decades, people have been running from what Carl Jung called the shadow. They've labeled it as evil, dangerous, or shameful, something to be repressed or erased. But what if that was a mistake? What if everything you hate, fear, or deny about yourself is actually the gateway to your greatest potential? In this video, we're going to dive deep into the mind of Jung, into the psychology of your hidden self, and reveal why your shadow isn't something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Before we go deeper, I want to invite you into something more powerful than just watching this video. Hit the like button right now, not just to support the channel, but to tell the algorithm this is content that matters. Subscribe if you are ready to explore the truth beneath the surface. And let me ask you something. What's one part of yourself you've always tried to hide from others? Drop it in the comments, not to confess, but to connect. You might discover that others are carrying the same hidden weight. The idea of a shadow might sound poetic, mysterious, even a bit scary, but Jung wasn't writing fairy tales. He was revealing a psychological truth. Every human being carries a hidden side. This shadow is built from the parts of ourselves we've pushed away, our rage, our jealousy, our impulses, our fears, not because we're evil, but because we were told those emotions made us bad. So what did we do? We buried them. We pretended they weren't there. But here's the problem. The shadow doesn't die. It festers, it leaks out, it sabotages relationships, creeps into your thoughts and hijacks your behaviors. Ever done something completely out of character and wondered, why did I do that? That was your shadow, not evil, but unheard, unseen, desperate to be acknowledged. And listen, if you've ever felt like parts of you were too messy, too intense, or too dark to be loved, you're not alone. Comment below with "I see my shadow," so I know you're here and doing this work with me. We're in this together. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Let that sink in. Most people live their entire lives being puppeteered by emotions and instincts they don't even recognize. They lash out in anger, then regret it. They chase relationships that hurt them. They sabotage their success, and they blame the world, not realizing it's the unseen within them pulling the strings. That's the shadow. But it's not your enemy. It's trying to get your attention. And here's the truth most people never hear. The shadow doesn't just contain the dark. It contains your fire, your creativity, your courage to speak up, your wildness, your sex drive, your ability to say no. Every trait you suppress to fit in lives there. The shadow is your exiled genius. It's time to bring it back home. And if this is resonating with you, hit that like button. Let's awaken more people to this inner revolution. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine a child, bold, curious, expressive. They sing loudly. They ask questions. They cry when they're hurt. And then one day, someone says, "That's annoying," or "Stop crying, be strong." That child learns, this part of me isn't safe, so they silence it. They split from it. That's the moment the shadow is born, not in evil, but in pain. That child grows up and becomes you, successful, polite, maybe even admired, but deep inside, something feels missing. You laugh, but don't feel joy. You love, but hold back. You work, but feel empty. That's not failure, that's fragmentation. And Jung's work shows us the way back through integration, through remembering and reclaiming the lost pieces of ourselves. If that child sounds like you, this video is your mirror. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the moment. Join this community of seekers and let's walk this path back to wholeness together. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Let that sink in. Most people live their entire lives being puppeteered by emotions and instincts they don't even recognize. They lash out in anger, then regret it. They chase relationships that hurt them. They sabotage their success, and they blame the world, not realizing it's the unseen within them pulling the strings. That's the shadow. But it's not your enemy. It's trying to get your attention, and here's the truth most people never hear. The shadow doesn't just contain the dark, it contains your fire, your creativity, your courage to speak up, your wildness, your sex drive, your ability to say no. Every trait you suppress to fit in lives there. The shadow is your exiled genius. It's time to bring it back home. And if this is resonating with you, hit that like button. Let's awaken more people to this inner revolution. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine a child, bold, curious, expressive. They sing loudly, they ask questions, they cry when they're hurt, and then one day someone says, "That's annoying," or "Stop crying, be strong." That child learns, "This part of me isn't safe." So they silence it, they split from it. That's the moment the shadow is born. Not in evil, but in pain. That child grows up and becomes you. Successful, polite, maybe even admired. But deep inside, something feels missing. You laugh, but don't feel joy. You love, but hold back. You work, but feel empty. That's not failure, that's fragmentation. And Jung's work shows us the way back, through integration, through remembering and reclaiming the lost pieces of ourselves. If that child sounds like you, this video is your mirror. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the moment. Join this community of seekers, and let's walk this path back to wholeness together. Let's break down what shadow integration actually looks like. It's not about eliminating the shadow. That's impossible and dangerous. It's about bringing it into the light, seeing it, owning it, accepting it without shame. Here's the truth. When you deny your shadow, it controls you. But when you embrace it, you gain power over it. You can channel your anger into boundaries, your envy into ambition, your fear into self-awareness. Integration doesn't make you perfect. It makes you real. It makes you whole. And wholeness is magnetic. People feel it. You stop performing and start embodying who you really are. And by the way, this isn't abstract philosophy. This is real-life transformation. It's how you go from reacting to responding, from sabotaging to creating, from surviving to leading. So ask yourself right now, what emotion have you been running from? Name it in the comments. Say it out loud. That's where healing begins. Here's a practical way to begin this work. Watch your triggers. Your emotional reactions aren't random. They're messages. If someone makes you furious, ask yourself, what part of me is being reflected? If someone's confidence makes you uncomfortable, could it be that you've repressed your own desire to be seen? If laziness annoys you, have you denied your own need for rest? Triggers are like flashlights. They show you where the shadow lives. But most people miss this. They blame others and stay stuck. You don't have to. Starting today, turn your reactions into reflections. Journal about them. Sit with them. Don't judge, just observe. This one habit can shift your entire inner world. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into these practices, let me know by hitting like and subscribing. This channel exists to guide you, not just with ideas, but with tools for transformation. Another powerful tool for shadow integration is dream analysis. Carl Jung believed that dreams are direct messages from the unconscious, and often the shadow shows up there. Have you ever had a dream that felt dark, chaotic, or emotional? That wasn't just random imagery. That was your unconscious showing you something you've ignored. Pay attention to the figures in your dreams. The angry man, the jealous woman, the animal chasing you. These are often symbols of your repressed instincts. Jung called these archetypes, universal patterns of the psyche. And when you begin to decode your dreams, you begin a dialogue with your shadow. It becomes less of a monster and more of a guide. Start writing your dreams down, even if they don't make sense. Over time, patterns emerge, themes repeat, and that's when the healing begins. If you've had a dream recently that stayed with you, share a short version of it in the comments. It may be more meaningful than you think. Let's talk about projection. One of the most dangerous ways the shadow controls us. When you haven't met your shadow, you'll see it everywhere but inside. You'll call others selfish when you're afraid to claim your needs. You'll call others weak when you're disconnected from your vulnerability. You'll judge what you secretly envy or fear. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Think about that. What you hate most in others may be a mirror, but instead of learning from it, we react. We push people away. We create division. Projection fuels racism, sexism, hatred, and war. Shadow work, then, is not just personal. It's revolutionary. When you stop projecting, you start healing. You build deeper relationships. You become safer to be around. You stop blaming and start owning. If that sounds like the kind of world you want to live in, hit subscribe, because that's the kind of consciousness we're building here. So how do you actually integrate your shadow? It begins with radical honesty. You must be willing to look at the parts of yourself that make you uncomfortable. That's not easy, but it's worth it. Start with this simple practice. When you react strongly to something, pause and ask, what am I feeling and why? Name it. Sit with it. Then ask, when have I felt this before? Often, the emotion you feel today echoes something from your past, a wound that was never healed. That's where the shadow lives, in your unfinished emotional business. The moment you shine light on it, you take away its power. You make the unconscious conscious. That's integration. That's growth. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you stay with it. And if you're committed to doing this work, say, "I'm ready," in the comments. Let's anchor this intention together. You're not alone in this journey. Now here's something important. Your shadow isn't just emotional. It also contains creative energy. Many of the world's greatest artists, leaders, and thinkers accessed their genius by facing their darkness. Why? Because the shadow is raw. It's untamed. And that's where true originality lives. Jung believed that creativity is the natural outcome of integration. When you reclaim your inner world, you unlock new perspectives, new ideas, new forms of expression. Have you ever noticed that your best insights come when you stop censoring yourself? That's your shadow speaking. And when you allow it to come through in your art, your words, your work, you become powerful. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're speaking from the full spectrum of who you are. Let that land. Your power lives in your wholeness, not your perfection. If you're a creator of any kind, comment below. My shadow is my muse. Let's zoom out. The reason shadow work is so rare is because it's uncomfortable. Most people would rather stay safe than go deep. But safe doesn't mean fulfilled. Comfort isn't the same as wholeness. And that's why so many people feel empty, even when life looks successful. They've built their lives on a fragmented self, and no amount of success can fill the void of disconnection. That's why Jung's work matters more now than ever. In a world obsessed with appearance, with control, with likes and filters, the shadow is the unfiltered truth. It's the part of you that's real, raw, undeniable. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace it, the more peace you feel. You stop performing. You stop chasing validation. You start being. If this video has helped you see your shadow in a new way, share it. Someone you know is carrying their shadow alone. Be the bridge. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to remember this. Your shadow is not evil. It's your hidden power. It's the part of you that holds your voice, your fire, your deepest truth. And the world doesn't need more people pretending to be perfect. The world needs whole people, integrated people, conscious people. That begins with you. So take what you've learned here and reflect, journal, observe, feel, and above all, be kind to yourself. This isn't a one-time task. It's a lifelong process. But every step you take brings you closer to your true self. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like it. It helps more people find this message. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're building a space here for deep, honest, transformational content. And finally, tell me in the comments, what did this video awaken in you? What shadow are you ready to meet? I'm reading every comment, and I honor your courage.